So, hope all of you are able to see the screen.
Yes, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji.
So today we are starting with chapter 16, and that is about the pastimes of the Lord in his childhood and youth. So in this chapter, there are 111 verses, and today we are going to discuss only the 25 verses. So how this chapter is being divided. So the first thing is the first 7 verses, first 25 verses are the activities which is in the Kaishore, that is in the Kishore Lila, that is the childhood pastimes. And then from 26 to 111, it is the fully about how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu meets Keshav Kashmiri and defeats him. So it is all about that.
Recording in progress.
And then coming back to the 25 verses which we are going to discuss today, in that the first 7 verses, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is just glorifying Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his childhood Leela. Okay, how in his childhood, how he is glorified, that part, and how he is paying obeisances is given only in those 7 verses. And then from 8 to 19, he goes to East Bengal. The tour to East Bengal is all about that. And then his wife or his consort Lakshmi Devi's disappearance. So all about this we will know today. Okay. So yeah, most of you have raised hands. We can just start reciting. And before that, our Mangalacharan with the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya. So, am I audible now?
Yes, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji.
In between, it got disconnected.
Yes, Mataji. For a few seconds.
Okay.
Mataji,
You can, yes. This is like Bhagavatam shloka. You can recite this. Kripa Shuddha Sharidyasya
Kripa Suddha Saridasya
Vishwam Aplavyantya Api
Vishwam Aplavandya Abhi
Nicha Gaiva Shraddha Bhati
Nija Deva Sada Bhati
Tam Chaitanya Prabhum Bhaje.
Tam Chaitanya Prabhum Bhaje.
You can read it.
Translation by Srila Sri Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. I worship Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, whose nectarian mercy flows like a great river inundating the entire universe. Just as a river flows downstream, Lord Chaitanya especially extends himself to the fallen.
Yes.
But also have to read Mataji.
I'll let you know, Mataji. Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So here, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, here Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is giving a reference to one of the songs which is mentioned here about Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu. Jaya Kora More. Okay, so that is song is sung by Narottam Das Thakur. And here, how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we know him as Mahavajanyaya, the most magnanimous and the most merciful. Right? So how he is merciful, in which way he is merciful, how a river, they are giving a what you call as similar, how you are comparing, he's here Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is being compared to a great river when it flows to the, when it flows downwards, how everyone is been benefited, right? When the river flows downward, how everyone has been benefited. So here Chaitanya Mahaprabhu extends himself to the fallen. So what do we mean by fallen? Here it means to be the fallen souls. So because of this incarnation as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Lord Krishna incarnated himself as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu mainly for the fallen souls, only for all the uh, to uplift the fallen souls. So here Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is mentioning in the purport that the more fallen one is, the greater one's claim to get the favor of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So here he has come to deliver each and every soul, and especially the fallen souls. He is going to show more mercy to the fallen souls. But one must be very serious and sincere to get this mercy. Only when one is sincere and serious, they can get this mercy. And even though they come in whichever varna or ashrama or a different caste, creed, or even whichever gender they are into, they are going to get the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So that is why he is called as the uh, most merciful form of the Lord. And also here the example is given of how Jagai and Madai, being the most sinful person, they have done all the sinful activities, whatever it comes to your mind, they are there in all there. Okay, so we see such people now also in Kali Yuga, and in Kali Yuga, practically, it is mentioned that most of them are having the qualities of Jagai and Madai. So, in order to relieve everyone like Jagai and Madai, the Lord has come to deliver. Only thing is, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is mentioning that we should be only sincere and serious. So, all of you are sincere and serious. So, all of you are here. So, the mercy is flowing to all of us. Okay, and that mercy is also flowing through to us through Srila Prabhupada's movement by ISKCON. Okay, and we'll just move on to the second verse. Yes, this is the Mangala Charan. Gayatri Mataji, you can recite this once more.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. I'll repeat, Mataji.
Okay. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda
Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda,
Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Dvaita Chandra, Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
So in each chapter you have been seeing that Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami always glorifies Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu, Advaita Chandra, and all the devotees of the Lord. Yes, Nirmala Mataji, you can recite this.
Yeah, after you I recite.
Okay.
Hare Krishna.
Jiyata Kaishora Chaitanyo
Jiya Kasura Chaitanyo
Murti Matya Grihashramat
Murti Masta Grahasramo Grahasramo
Lakshmi Architota Vagat Deviya
Lakshmi Achito Vako Devya
Dishama Jai Jaya Chalat.
Disam Jai Jaya Chalat. Translation please, Prabhupada, Jai. Long, little bit. Okay. Long live Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In his Kaisara age, both the goddess of fortune and the goddess of learning worshipped him. The goddess of learning, Saraswati, worshipped him in his victory over the scholar who had conquered all the world, and the goddess of fortune, Lakshmi Devi, worshipped him at home, since he is therefore the husband or lord of both goddesses. I offer my obeisances unto him. Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. So here also, as I mentioned, the 7 verses, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is paying obeisances. And how he is paying obeisances? So in his Kaishora age, in this childhood age, which we call, so he's telling long live that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And what he is telling? That goddess of fortune, Lakshmi Devi, and the goddess of learning, that is Saraswati. So worshipped him. So they both the goddess worshipped him. And the goddess of learning Saraswati, that is the Saraswati Devi, how he worshipped him over the victory over the scholar who has conquered all over the world. So here comes this Kashmiri Pandit. He was a scholar, and by the mercy of Saraswati Devi, he had got the mercy of Saraswati Devi, so he could conquer all over the world. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu won over him. So Saraswati Devi is happy over that victory. And the goddess of fortune, Lakshmi Devi, being his consort, where here also one of the consorts of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Lakshmi Devi. She is serving the Lord being at home. So to that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is husband and the Lord of both the goddesses, I pay the obeisances. So in that way, he is referring them and paying obeisances to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Yes, Manasvi, you can read the fourth verse.
Yes, Mataji. Aita Kaishora Lilara Sutra Anubandha Shishya Gana Pada Daite Karila Rambha. Translation. At the age of 11, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu began to teach students. This marks the beginning of his Kaishora age. Hare Krishna, Mataji.
So, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, at the age of 8, he was actually learning at home only. So, but at the age of 8, he wanted to learn from Gangadas Pandit, who was a renowned teacher in this place. So at that moment, this Gangadas Pandit was very good in grammar and Sanskrit. So Jagannath Mishra took Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and went to Gangadas Pandit and made him put him into the school. So there Gangadas Pandit was very happy to accept Nimai. Here Nimai is a name during the childhood is been called. So Nimai, when he received Nimai as a student, he was very happy. Gangadas Pandit was very happy, and Gangadas Pandit is none other than Sandipani Muni, or you can consider him as the part of Sandipan Muni here. So he receives him well and is very happy to receive him as student. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very brilliant. He was having a strong memory. So whatever he's taught in one class at one time, so Chaitanya Mahaprabhu can easily grasp it and remember it immediately. So he did not have to revise or do anything more. So that is about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu learning grammar and Sanskrit from Gangadas Pandit. So immediately within 10 years he has finished everything. He has learned all the things like Nyaya or any other topics, and he was so well versed in all those things that he could debate in those times. Whatever subject you know, there was a debate with the students, and also in that way they used to go on with all those topics. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu could easily debate with his senior students also, and uh, that is how he became very famous as he went off. So within the age of 10, he had completed all his studies and he was ready to become a teacher. So that is what is mentioned here. At the age of 11, seeing his very brilliant, and he was very brilliant and so much of great intelligence that most of the students wanted to come and learn from him. So he began to teach the students. So that begins his first part of his Kaishora age. Yeah. Sharada Mataji, you can read the fifth verse.
Hare Krishna. सत सत शिष्य संगे सदा अध्यापना वाक्य सुनी सर्वलोकेरा कामाकित मना.
Chamakita mana. Okay.
Okay, Shamakita
Translation.
mana.
Translation, Mataji.
As soon as the Lord became a teacher, Mataji, can you lift that screen little top?
Yeah.
As soon as the Lord became a teacher, many students came to him. Every one of them astonished to hear his mode of explanation.
Yeah.
Correct. Thanks.
So as he was debating and nobody could actually defeat him. Okay. So, and he thus became a teacher also. In those, you don't see the age now. In those ages, very young would become a teacher. And here the Lord had become a teacher. So many students came to learn from him. Why? Because his mode of explaining the subject or his knowledge about the subject was so nice that they just want to come to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and know about it. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also was so much involved in studying all those Vedas or the scriptures that he spent most of his time in doing this. Okay. Bhuvana Mataji, you can read this, recite this.
Yeah, Mataji. One second. Yeah, Mataji. Sarva Shastre Sarva Pandita Paya Parajaya Vinaya Bhangite Karo Dukha Nahi Haya. Is it okay, Mataji? Any correction?
No, Mataji, nice.
Thank you. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, Jai Srila Prabhupada. The Lord defeated all kinds of scholars in discourse about all the scriptures, yet because of his gentle behavior, none of them were very happy. Thank you, Mataji.
None of them were unhappy.
Sorry, Mataji. None of them were unhappy. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. So here, as I mentioned, the Lord was very good in debating. So he has defeated all kind of scholars in all discourses in the scriptures, about all the scriptures. But then everyone were happy with him, even though they got defeated by him. Some senior students who were there, they considered him to be a junior and just were like accepting him, right? And because of the gentle behavior of the Lord, they were not, they were like they were happy only. They were not unhappy. Okay. Mohan Das Prabhu, you can recite this.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Vivida adutaya kare shishya gana sange jana vite jala keli karana hai range. Hare Krishna. Translation: The Lord, as a teacher, performed various kinds of pranks in his sporting pastimes in the water of the Ganges. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Yes. So the Lord is still in his Kaishora age. He is a teacher at the age of 11, but he still was past having nice time in the water of the Ganges. So he was playing lot of pranks. So at such an age, it is usual kids will be doing lot of pranks, or usually the boys are always mischievous. So here the Lord is playing the pastime, how he played the pastime as Lord Krishna in Vrindavan. Similarly here in Nadia, he is playing this water pastimes in the Ganges. So here in Chaitanya Bhagavat, Vrindavan Das Thakur mentions about lot of pastimes. So some are like when women and men are taking bath, he just exchanges their dresses. Whatever the woman wears is being exchanged with the men's dress, and the men's dress is exchanged with the woman's dress. And then he just he used to float in the water and just split water on them, or he used to like spill on their faces also when they're doing their Gayatri in the water, or when they are just taking bath in the water, he used to go down and just pull off their legs. So various pranks he used to do. So once all these brahmanas who were getting disturbed because every day they were getting used to these pranks of the Lord. So they went and complained to the father, Jagannath Mishra, that your son is creating lot of problems. We cannot take bath peacefully. So each one of them were telling about all the pranks, whatever he used to do. And then even the ladies also used to come and tell to Sachi Mata that when they were getting all the offerings which are ready to offer to the Lord, he used to steal them, or something like which is to be offered to Vishnu, like some fruit or something. He used to have it himself when they have gone to take bath. And he used to tell them, I am the Lord only, so why are you worried? I am only accepting your offerings. But the people cannot understand this. So now Jagannath Mishra became very angry with his son. So the next day he wants to catch him red-handed. So at that time, after the school, Nimai and all his classmates go to take a bath, and some of the ladies who were like concerned that who came to know that Jagannath Mishra is coming to the river to take a look what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is going to do there. So they warn him that your father is very angrily coming to the river. You please get out of here. So he takes a different path and goes home. And when Jagannath Mishra comes near the river, he does not see Nimai over there. And he asks the other children, where is Nimai? So and Nimai has told before only to his classmates that if my father asks where I am, so please tell him that I didn't come to the Ganges water to take bath. I just went home. He has not come here. You can just tell like that. So hearing that, he was very angry. He just goes towards the house. Seeing him angry, other brahmanas who had complained about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they tell him that we'll come today with you, or you might harm the child. You have got such a beautiful and wonderful child that no one has. We are just having fun and just giving you simply just like that complaint. So they were just trying to pacify Jagannath Mishra. And meanwhile, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had went home, and he is in his clean clothes, like in his clothes which is not wet, and there were ink spots on his dress. And he was carrying his books also. And as soon as he went home, he told his mother, please give me oil, I will apply oil and go and take bath in the river. So seeing the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that he has not went to the Ganges, mother was happy that why other ladies come and complain, he is not yet gone to bath today, like that. So meanwhile, Jagannath Mishra also rushes to home. And as soon as he sees his father, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu goes and sits on his lap. And as soon as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sits on his lap, the anger which was there in Jagannath Mishra just vanishes off. He feels the love for the child. And he observes Nimai that there is no sign of his clothes being wet, or he's been clean. His face or his hands are all filled with ink, and he's little having dust on his body. So he observes that. And then he asks him, why everyone is complaining that you are playing pranks on them, you are disturbing them when they are taking bath. So he tells them they are just simply giving complaints against me. I am not doing anything. And this was true in one sense, because he was trying to preach to them that to pray to Vishnu only and none other than that. So indirectly he was doing all such pranks on them. Okay, so we'll move ahead. Sudha Mataji, you can read the 8th verse.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Kata dine kaila prabhu bange te gamana yahan Yahanyaya tahan lavya
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 Namasa.
lavya nama sankirtana. Translation by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada, Jai Srila Prabhupada. After some days, the Lord went to East Bengal, and wherever he went, he introduced the Sankirtana movement. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So now the Lord was as indirectly preaching there. Now the Lord as a teacher, he was very well known all over Bengal. So he was staying in Nadia, West Bengal. Now he used to get offers from other places to come and be their teacher in that place. So similarly here he got offers to teach in East Bengal. So he went to East Bengal, and that is when he first introduced the Sankirtan movement. Okay, so here it is mentioned even in the purport that the devotees and the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, whoever comes in the disciplic succession, um, should introduce them. Since we are only trying to preach, we should only preach about Sankirtan movement or the devotional practices only, and not to defeat or show our intelligence or knowledge on the scriptures. So this is also followed in the disciplic succession by many of them. So here Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also is trying to show that, and in later part in maybe in Madhya Lila or in different Lila, we will see even Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami following in the same way. There will be, in those times, there are scholars who are very good, having very good knowledge, but those are in considered with uh, not in terms of uh, this in terms of other things, not in terms of related with devotional practices. So they were trying to boast of their knowledge. So most of the scholars used to come and show that if they debate and whoever wins, they get the award. So similarly, one person, one Brahmana or whoever, I don't remember the name, he comes to Sanatan Goswami, he comes to Rupa Goswami and asks them to debate. You are very well known here in Vrindavan, so why don't you debate? But this Sanatan Goswami and Rupa Goswami, they just tell that we are not interested in these debates. We accept the defeat, and they just sign the letter and give. Because of their humility, and they don't want to waste on such useless debates, because they know that the importance of devotional practices, so they don't waste time on that. They only try, and Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami were busy writing in so many books so that it can reach to the other people in terms of devotional practices. Okay, so preachers, so those whoever wants to preach, they should introduce Sankirtan movement and about all everything about devotional practices. So that is the mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Okay. Rohini Mataji, you can recite the 9th verse.
हरे कृष्णा. Yes, Mataji. विद्यार प्रभाव देखी चमत्कार चित्ते शत शत पडव्या असी लागिला पडिते. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So,
Translation. Should I read, ma'am?
yes, yes, Mataji. Yes, Mataji.
Yeah. Struck with wonder by the influence of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's intellectual prowess, many hundreds of students came to the Lord and began studying. I'm not able to see that.
Under his direction.
Under his direction. Yes. Thank you, Mother. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. So yes, as I mentioned earlier, he became a teacher at the age of 11. So by his intellectual prowess and seeing his intelligence level and the way he teaches, everyone was struck with wonder, was in so much of, he has impressed them that they all want to come and learn under the Lord, under his direction. So many students were coming and teaching. And in that way, that is how he goes to East Bengal to preach, because he was been called there to preach in East Bengal, and many were eager to learn under Nimai Pandit. So he was known very well as Nimai Pandit. Okay. So Nimai Pandit here, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was, you can tell, as a scholar, was very, very illiterate scholar, you can tell. Like how nowadays people want to go to IIT only, or go to some very, very well-known college only. So similarly here in Bengal especially, most of them wanted to come under Chaitanya Mahaprabhu only and take lessons. In the earlier time, there were no mentioning about schools or such. There were teachers like Guru. Under them, there were, you can choose your Guru and you can be under them. So here, everyone just wanted to be under Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So we'll just, yeah. Parvati Mataji,
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Sei dese vipranama mishra tapana nishchaya karite nare sadhya sadhana. Translation: in East Bengal, there was a Brahmin named Tapana Mishra who could not ascertain the objective of life or how to attain it. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yes. So in East Bengal, so now we are in East Bengal, which is now called as Bangladesh. So at that time, there was a Brahmana named Tapan Mishra. So we'll know more about this Tapan Mishra also. So here it is mentioned that he could not ascertain the objective of life or how to attain it. Tapan Mishra was not an ordinary person. He was also a scholar, and he has read lot of scriptures. He has put in all his effort, shastras, everything, but he was not able to understand the objective of life or how to attain it. Why was that so? Why he was not able to attain it, we'll come to know in the next shloka. And here, what is the objective of life? Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami mentions it here, that the object of life is to understand Krishna, and what should be, and that should be the goal of our life. The object of life or the goal of life is to understand Krishna. And how we can attain that? When we practice Krishna conscious, by following in the mood of the disciplic successions, with reference by the Goswamis or the authoritative scriptures and Vedas. Shobha Mataji, you can recite this.
Hari Bol, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Bahu Shastre Bahu Vakye Chitte Brahmahaya Satya Sadhana Shrestha Nahaya Nishchaya. Hare Krishna.
Sadhya Sadhana Shrestha Nahaya.
Sadhya Sadhana Shrestha Nahaya Nishchaya. Hare Krishna.
Translation Mataji.
Okay, translation. If one becomes a bookworm, reading many books and scriptures and hearing many commentaries and the instructions of many men, this will produce doubt within his heart. One cannot in this way ascertain the real goal of life. Dandavat Pranam. Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna. So, Tapan Mishra was a scholar. He has read many books and scriptures. So, what will happen if you read lot and lot? That will produce doubt within the heart, because it is like if you read something from Dvaita philosophy and something from Advaita philosophy and other things, you get confused what is what. So in that way, you cannot know what is exactly the objective of life or how to attain that. So here in this purport, so in here in this connection, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur gives his opinion that those who are attracted to studying many kinds of literatures concerning various subject matters Especially fruitive activities and philosophical speculation are deprived of unalloyed devotional service because of their splayed attention. So, usually human beings have a general tendency, right, towards the fruitive activities or philosophical speculations, then other ritualistic things that we do. So, in that, we forget what is the real goal of our life. So, so we just misuse of our time and waste our life. So that is why here uh, and here in it is also given reference from even Bhagavatam that one should not read many books, nor should one try to make a profession of reciting many books, especially if one is a devotee. So what is being told here is that whatever we are trying to learn, even if we are reading Bhagavatam or whatever, we should try to put it into practice. Only by reciting hundreds and hundreds shlokas perfectly without seeing the books and not understanding the philosophy or the essence of the philosophy is not going to help us. Okay. So only thing is the process should be followed. So acharya vichara. As we tell, whatever you practice, that will help. Uh, so here Tapan Mishra was not able to find out. So who comes to help him? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes to help him. How he helps him, we will see in the coming shlokas. Yeah, Maumita Mataji, you can recite.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
स्वप्ने एका विप्र कहे सुनः तपना निमानि पंडित पासे करहा गमना. Mataji, translation.
Yes, Mataji.
Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Tapana Mishra, being thus bewildered, was directed by a Brahmana in a dream to go to Nimai Pandit of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Yes.
Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you.
Hare Krishna. So here Tapan Mishra was not able to find the objective of the life. So he really wanted to find the objective of life and how to attain it. He was anxious to know about it. So as super soul, the Lord is present in our heart. So here he was directed by a Brahmana in the dream to go to Nimai Pandit. So at that time, Tapan Mishra was in East Bengal and Nimai Pandit has come there to give sessions for the students in East Bengal. So in the dream, he's been told to go to Nimai Pandit. Saurabh Prabhu, you can recite.
हरे कृष्ण माता जी.
Hare Krishna.
तुम्हारा सदय साधना करीब निश्चय सकृत ईश्वर तेनु नाही का समस्या. Translation by Srila
Sakshat
Prabhupada.
Ishvara.
Ishvara. Because he is the Lord Ishvara, the Brahmana told him undoubtedly he can give you proper direction. Hare Krishna. Dandavat.
Yes. So in the dream, it is also really revealed to him that Nimai Pandit is none other than the Lord himself, and he can give you the proper direction. So, Shameshwari Mataji, you can.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Mataji. स्वप्न देखे मिश्रसी प्रभुर चरणे स्वप्नेर वृत्तांत सब कैला निवेदने. Translation. After seeing the dream, Tapan Mishra came to the shelter of Lord Chaitanya's lotus feet and he described all the details of the dream to the Lord.
Yes. So this
Thank
is
you.
how when you're anxious to know about the objective of the life, the Lord himself will show us the direction. So here Tapan Mishra sees in the dream that he has to go and meet Chaitanya Mahaprabhu from him whose direction he can go along. So, and from there he meets Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and he takes shelter under him and he describes all the details of the dream and what he is looking after. Anybody else who wants to recite?
Can I recite, Mataji, as well?
Yes, Mataji.
दुष्ट हा ना साध्य साधना कहिला नाम संकीर्तन करा उपदेश कैला. Translation. The Lord, being satisfied, instructed him about the object of life and the process for attaining it. He instructed him that the basic principle of success is to chant the holy name of the Lord, the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Thank you, Mataji.
Yes, thank you, Mataji. Yes. So here he meets the Lord. So he comes to know what is the object of life and the process for attaining it. So here in the purport, it is mentioned. Uma Mataji, you can read the purport. Haribol.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yeah.
Purport by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. The Krishna consciousness movement is based upon this instruction of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that one must chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra regularly and according to the prescribed principles. We simply ask our Western students to chant at least 16 rounds a day, but sometimes we find that they fail to chant even the 16 rounds, and instead they bring many austere books and worshipping method that diverts the attention in so many ways. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's cult is based upon the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra. Lord Chaitanya first advised Tapana Mishra to fix his mind on this chanting. We, the members of the Krishna consciousness movement, must strictly follow this advice of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. So here Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as we read earlier also, what is the object of life? What is the object of life?
To understand Krishna.
Know about the Lord.
Know about the Lord.
Yeah. And how do we attain that?
By chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra.
Yes, that is one of the methods by the process of devotional practices, by practicing Krishna conscience. So here, somebody can mute. Yeah, thank you. So here, what is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu advising Tapan Mishra? That in order to attain the Lord, he has to first fix his mind on the chanting. Chanting what? Chanting the holy name of the Lord. And there is no difference in the holy name of the Lord and the Lord himself. So when we fix our mind on chanting, and here he is telling to chant attentively so that we hear the mantra properly. Okay. So that is the main thing we see, that to fix our mind on the chanting, to chant attentively. When we are chanting, our mind should not go now to Navadvip or Vrindavan or somewhere else, right? Or to your shopping mall or somebody else. No, our mind should be, when we are chanting the holy name, to be concentrating at least on the holy name, right? When we are chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So we should concentrate on each verbal of this Maha Mantra. So when we are just trying to be attentive on that, that purifies the consciousness and the anarthas which are inside. And also our so when we keep hearing the Maha Mantra, that is how the cleansing process happens. Okay. So how we clean our house with what is that, Lysol or anything, to make the room clean. So similarly here, to clean our mind and our heart, this Mahamantra does the effect. So Prabhupada has told us to chant 16 rounds, the 16 good rounds. Okay. So the same thing Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also is telling here to Tapan Mishra to fix his mind on chanting. So we can also take it this advice of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for ourselves also. Okay.
Hare Krishna Mataji. While
Yes.
chanting, we have think of his of Lord's pastimes as well, no?
Actually, one of my senior devotees told me that actually we need not think about that, but when we are chanting and when we are, it immediately it should come. It's not that we think about it, it should just come. So we can only think about chanting and hearing at this moment to purify ourselves. Because thinking about the Lord's pastimes, we may get in go somewhere else. Our mind may go somewhere else. Like even by just watching the Lord, like somebody is sitting in the temple and looking at the Lord and the deities, seeing the dhoti of the deities, like Gopinath, the devotee remembered that he has put his dhoti up on the terrace to dry, and it might rain also. So in that way, our mind gets carried away. So
Okay, Mataji.
so mainly is to hear, chant. So Prabhupada just simply just tells it in easy way that hear and chant. So concentrate on hearing the verses, but with the feeling that you are crying out the names of the Lord, with that
Yes.
feeling of for the Lord when you are just chanting, not mechanically chanting, with the feeling for the Lord when we are chanting, that actually helps.
Okay, thank you, Mataji. That was
Thank you.
nice.
Uma Mataji, you can recite this.
Hare Krishna Mataji. तांडलच्या प्रभू संगे नवदीपवासी प्रभू आज्ञा दिला तुम्ही या हो वाराणसी.
Yes.
Translation by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Prabhupada ki jai. Tapana Mishra desired to live with the Lord in Navadvip, but the Lord asked him to go to Varanasi, that is Benares.
Yes.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. So here now Tapan Mishra has taken shelter under Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and he wanted to live with the Lord in Navadvip. But what does the Lord tell? He orders him to go to Varanasi. And Tapan Mishra takes the order and he goes to Varanasi. And we will see in the coming thing what happens when does Tapan Mishra meets again the Lord. Somewhere in Madhya Lila, you'll come to know when does Tapan Mishra meets the Lord. And here also you'll come to know Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami will let you know that. Rohini Mataji, you can recite this.
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna. ताहाम संगे तोमार हवे दर्शन आज्ञापान मिश्र कैल काशी ते गमन. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. The Lord assured Tapan Mishra that they would meet again in Varanasi. Receiving this order, Tapan Mishra went there. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yes. So now the Lord has also assured Tapan Mishra that he will again meet him where in Varanasi. So taking the orders seriously, Tapan Mishra have now went to Varanasi. So just an order. So you can see now he has considered Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taking just a shelter under Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and just one order. He is in Bangladesh and he's been told to go to Varanasi. So how far? How far it is? But as soon as they get the orders, we see the sincerity of the devotees, right? That immediately whatever they get, instructions, they just follow it. So that is how when we follow the instructions properly, we also get the mercy of the Lord and as well as the Guru. Shubha Raman Prabhu.
Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Sorry, Mataji. You can recite this.
Yes, Mataji. Text 18. Prabhu Rag Atyarakya Lila Bujite na pari Swasanga Chandana Kene Patiya Kashipuri.
Swasanga Chandana Kene Pataya Kashipuri.
Swasanga Chandana Kene.
It is not Chandana, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji.
It's not Chandana, it is Chadana.
Okay. Chadana Kena Bhateya Kashipuri. Okay, Mataji.
Yeah, translation, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji. Translation Baba Srila Prabhupada ki jai. I cannot understand the inconceivable pastimes of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, for although Tapana Mishra wanted to live with him in Navdeepa, the Lord advised him to go to Varanasi. Hare Krishna, Mataji.
You can read the purport, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji. When Thapana Mishra met him, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was living in household life, and there was no indication that in the future he would accept the sannyasa order. But by asking Thapana Mishra to go to Varanasi, he indicated that in the future he would accept sannyasa, and that when he would teach Sanatana Goswami, Thapana Mishra would take advantage of the opportunity to learn the object of life and the real process for attaining it.
Yes. So at the moment, Tapan Mishra has been told to chant the holy name, and then he will come to know more about the devotional practices. So he tells him to go to Varanasi. So here, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is telling that he cannot understand this inconceivable pastime. The Lord knows the past, present, and future. So he knows that in future he is going to take sannyas order, he is going to teach Sanatan Goswami, right? And then at that time, Tapan Mishra. So all those plans, the Lord himself knows, right? So here, that is what is inconceivable pastime. So in that way, he sends Tapan Mishra to go to Varanasi. So the whole pastime comes in Madhya Lila, I suppose. So we'll know more about that over there. So now we'll go ahead quickly. Lalita Mataji, you can recite.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Ei masa bhangira lokera kaila mahahita namadiya bhakta kaila padana pandita. Translation by His Grace Bhaktivedanta Srila Prabhupada ki jai. In this way, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu contributed the greatest benefit to the people of East Bengal by initiating them into Harinama, the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, and making them learned scholars by educating them. Want me to read purport, Mataji?
Yeah, you can quickly read, Mataji.
Yeah. Following in the footsteps of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Krishna consciousness movement is distributing the Hare Krishna Mahamantra and inducing people all over the world to chant. They are giving people an immense treasury of transcendental literature translated into all the important languages of the world. And by the grace of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, this literature is selling profusely and people are chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra with great delight. This is the preaching process of the Chaitanya cult. Since the Lord wanted this cult preached all over the world, the International Society of Krishna Consciousness is acting in a humble way so that the vision of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu may be fulfilled all over the world, especially the Western countries. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. So this is the message that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted, that Hare Krishna Mahamantra should be induced all over the world, right? He wanted it to be known in all over the villages and everywhere. So in the same footsteps, the Krishna conscious movement is distributing the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And we are telling it to all of you also, that not only you chant, but also tell it to others also, and spread the knowledge about Krishna conscious to others also, so that they also get the immense benefit what you are getting, right? So that is what we can do. Even if you tell one person to chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, that is also called as preaching. Okay, it need not be in a large scale. In a small scale also, we can do the preaching process, and that is how we can be also part of Srila Prabhupada's mission. Yes, Deval,
Yes, Mataji. Yes,
Deval
Mataji.
Mataji.
Yes, Mataji. I got so many people to start chanting forcefully. Being after them, now they are chanting 1 or 2 rounds.
We should not force, but yes, you can always ask them to chant. Thank
Yeah,
you.
but sometimes they are lazy, Mataji. So they say, forgot, I'll do it tomorrow. So we have to do at least 1 round every day.
Okay. Thank you, Mataji, for sharing. Deval Mataji, you can recite.
Yes. Yes, Hare Krishna Mataji. मत बंगे प्रभु करे नाना लीला एथा नव द्वीपे लक्ष्मी विरहे दुखी हैला. Translation: Because the Lord was engaged in various ways in preaching work in East Bengal, his wife Lakshmi Devi was very unhappy at home in separation from her husband. Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. So, somewhere at the age of 14, the Lord was married to Lakshmi Devi. And since the Lord was always in East Bengal and she is in the house in West Bengal, she was very unhappy. And because usually for a wife and husband should be nearby, otherwise they will be not happy, right? So in that unhappy, she leaves the body. So in the next shloka, we see that how she leaves the body or how she goes back to Godhead. Shri Priya Mataji, you can recite.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Prabhura viraha sarpa lakshmi redam sila viraha sarpa vise tanra paraloka haila. The snake of separation bit Lakshmi Devi and its poison caused her death. Thus she passed to the next world. She went back home, back to Godhead. Yes. Do we read the purport, Mataji?
Yes, Mataji, you can read this.
As stated in Bhagavad Gita 8.6, Yam Yam Vapi Smaranam Bhavam Tajyate Ante Kale Kalevaram. Once practiced
Yes,
Kalevaram. One's practice in thinking throughout his entire life determines the quality of his thoughts at death, and thus at death one obtains a suitable body. According to this principle, Lakshmi Devi, the goddess of fortune from Vaikunta, who was observed in the thought of Lord in separation from him, certainly went back to Vaikunta Loka after death. Hare Krishna Maharaj.
So this is also very important. When we start practicing devotional practices, we can remember the Lord, or the Lord makes an arrangement to think about him when we practice the devotional practices, right? Just if we don't practice, if we are not doing devotional practices, at the end of the time of the death, we cannot remember the Lord. It is very, very difficult. We can remember whomever we are attached to, right? So we have seen in most of the times, if we are attached to the husband, and here it is mentioned that at the time of the death, whatever thoughts comes, they obtain the suitable body. So if you are remembering your husband, you get a male body, and the husband is remembering the female wife, he gets the female body. But here Lakshmi Devi was remembering the Lord, who is none other than her husband, but he is the Lord. So in separation from him, she was remembering him. So she certainly went back to Vaikunta. So this also is mentioned by Krishna in Bhagavad Gita also, right? That if you remember me, then you will come to me, right? So when we practice what we practice, if we constantly chant the holy name, if we are reading Bhagavatam, if we are hearing Krishna Katha, then certainly those things only come in the mind. So it is mentioned like whatever activities you do, it gets it gets recorded in your mind, whatever you are doing now. So at the time of death, It is just when you're leaving the body, whatever you have done, it comes to you. And what you have done the most, if you have done devotional practices, that comes to you when you're leaving the body. So that is how you're able to remember the Lord during the time of death, if you are doing devotional practices. If we are doing something else, then this is what is I have heard, and that is my understanding, that at the time of death, whatever devotional practices you are, that is being reflected to you. So that is what you get the memory or remembrance, right? So then it is easy for us to remember the Lord. Even if we are in such a condition, or the the Lord makes arrangement to remember Him. So our effort or our endeavor is only to practice devotional practices. What happens at the time of death, the Lord will arrange for us. So that faith we need to go. Okay. So Sharada Mataji, you can recite this.
Hare Krishna. अंतरे जलीला प्रभु याते अंतर्यामी देसीरे ऐला प्रभु साची दुख जानी. Translation. Lord Chaitanya knew about the disappearance of Lakshmi Devi because he is the super soul himself. Thus he returned home to solace his mother Sachi Devi, who was greatly unhappy about the death of her daughter-in-law. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Here, Sachimata, earlier we have seen Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had a brother. So Sachimata is having back to back getting bad news for her. Like first her son Vishwaru leaves the house, he takes to sannyas, and then her husband also leaves the body. Jagannath Mishra also leaves the body. In when his son leaves home and goes to take sannyas, in that sorrow, he also leaves his body within few years. So now there is one more take, that daughter-in-law. So when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu married Lakshmi Devi, Sachimata was very happy, but it was only for a shorter time. Now she has also left the body. So she was greatly unhappy that everyone is leaving the body or nobody is there with her. So, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, since he's a super soul, he comes to know about disappearance of Lakshmi Devi. So he comes back home from East Bengal, and just to solace Sachimata. Yeah. Yeah. Yes, Shobha Mataji, you can recite.
Hare Krishna. ग्रहे ऐला प्रभु बहु लाना धाना जाना तत्व ज्ञान खैला सचीरा दुख विमोचना. May I read the translation, Mataji?
Yes, Mataji.
Hari Bol. When the Lord returned home, bringing him with him great wealth and many followers, he spoke to Sachidevi about transcendental knowledge to relieve her of the grief she was suffering. Dandavat Pranam. Hari Bol.
You can read the purport, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. It is stated in the Bhagavad Gita 2.13, Dehinosmim yatha dehe kaumaram yavvanam jara tatha dehantara praptir dhirastatra na muhyati. As the embodied soul continuously passes in this body from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. The self-realized soul is now bewildered by such a change. Such verses from the Bhagavad Gita or any other Vedic scriptures give valuable instructions on the occasions of someone's passing away. By discussing such instructions from the Bhagavad Gita or Srimad Bhagavatam, a sober man can certainly understand that the soul never dies, but rather passes from one body to another. This is called transmigration of the soul. A soul comes into this material world and creates bodily relationships with a father, a mother, sister, brother, a wife, and children. But all these relationships pertain to the body, not the soul. Therefore, as described in the Bhagavad Gita, dhiras tatra na
Dhirastatra namoyati.
dhirastatra na mohyati. One who is sober is not disturbed by such phenomenal changes within this material world. Such instructions are called Tattvakatha or real truth. Dandavat Pranam Haribol. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. So here, now the Lord has returned home. He wants to relieve Sachimata of the grief by giving her the transcendental knowledge. So what is this transcendental knowledge? What Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is mentioning in the purport. It is also from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, 13th verse. Dehinosmin yata dehe kaumaram yauvanam jara tata dehantara praptir dhirasa tatra namuyati. So we know that the soul is eternal, right? It is just passing from one body to another, or from boyhood to youth to old age. So when there is death, it just moves from one body to another. So the soul is eternal, so the soul never dies here. Only the body will dies. And the soul just moves from one body to another, calling it as transmigration. So when we understand this, then we don't grieve, or we don't like some people who are very attached, they go into depression or such things, that they cannot accept the thing that we are not this body, we are the souls. And for each and every living entity which is there, there is death is certain for all of us. It's not that I am not going to die or you are not going to die. All of us are going to die one or the other time. So this is certain, and most of us knew it, but we cannot accept it when our loved ones leave the body. So usually, as a devotees, when if anyone is leaving the body, then we should pray for them, we should give, we should chant them, or if they are in the stage of leaving the body, so then you can recite Bhagavad Gita shlokas, or you can make them chant if it is possible for them. Bhagavad Gita shlokas or Bhagavatam, read Bhagavatam. So in this way, at the moment of death also, you can help them. Even at the time, if they are not able to
Mataji, instead of that, we can chant the Hare Krishna Mahamandram
yes,
in front of them, no? Because sloga
yes,
and all, they can't, Sanskrit slogas are very tough to read and all. So instead of that, when one man is about to leave his body, we
yes,
can
Mataji.
chant Hare
You can
Krishna
do everything.
Mahamandra.
You can do everything, Mataji. Not only chanting, you can even read, and even after they leave also, you can chant. Even after they leave the body, you can chant, you can recite the shlokas, because the soul can understand the Sanskrit. So when we are reciting Bhagavad Gita, especially the second chapters, then the soul does not get bewildered at the moment if they are hearing. So then they understand also. So that is how we can help
Mataji,
them.
second or eighth chapter?
Both. Second is because it talks about the soul, so they don't get bewildered. And eighth is about we should remember the Lord.
Okay, Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. So we'll just move ahead. I'm late. I'm 15 minutes late of time. Yes, Mataji. Yes, Vinodini Mataji, you can recite this. Saraswati Mataji, you can recite.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam Mataji. Shishya Ganalana Puna Vidya Ravilasa Vidya Bale Sab Sabajini Audarya Prakasha. Translation by Srila Prabhupada, Jai Shri Prabhupada. 1 minute, Mataji, I lower that. After coming back from East Bengal, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu again began educating others. By the strength of his education, he conquered everyone, and thus he was greatly proud. Hare Krishna.
So here they mention that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu goes back to East Bengal. Again, he educates them. So he's conquered them, everyone through debate, everything. So he was very well known, and whatever he was knowing, he was proud also about that. In a positive way, you can tell. And now the last shloka. Vinodini Mataji?
Hare Krishna Mataji,
Yes,
can I?
Mataji.
Sorry,
Tabe
wait.
Vishnu Priya, Tabe Vishnu Priya, Takurana Nira Parinaya, Tabeta Karila Prabhu, Digvijaya Jaya. Translation. Then the Lord Chaitanya married Vishnu Priya, the goddess of fortune, and thereafter he conquered a champion of learning named Keshava Kasamari.
Kashmiri.
Keshava Kasmari.
Yes. Thank you, Mataji. Yes, Rupali Mataji, you can recite. You are muted, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, purport.
You can read the verse, Mataji. You wanted to read?
Mataji, I will repeat.
Yeah. Tabe Vishnu Priya Takura Nira. Sorry. Takura Nira Parinaya.
Priya Tabe na Karila Prabhu.
Digvijay Jaya.
Jaya Jaya.
Yes, you can read the purport, Mataji. But just a second. No, Mataji, it's too big. This is just about introduction to about Keshav Kashmiri is mentioned in the purport. So this essence I'll just let you know. So here, two things come in this shloka. So after Lakshmi Priya, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu again marries Vishnu Priya, the goddess of fortune, and there is also another part that he conquers the champion learning named Keshav Kashmiri. So in Chaitanya Bhagavat, there is a huge description about getting married to Vishnu Priya also. How the marriage happens, how the 5 days of those marriage, how the celebration. It's a huge thing, and so I'm just cutting short here. And then coming to Keshav Kashmiri, as we have seen told earlier, he got the mercy of Saraswati, goddess Saraswati. So he was able to conquer all over the world. So he was also named, he has got the title Digvijay, that one who has conquered in all the directions. So this Keshav Kashmiri is now conquered by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So cutting short this pastime, how is been conquered in the debate thing, there is a detailed description in the coming verses from 26 to 111. So here what it is mentioned is after he after he is conquered by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in the dream he could not accept the how is that he is been defeated, because he has got the mercy of goddess Saraswati. So goddess Saraswati comes in his dream and tells him that whomever he is conquered is none other than her lord, that is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the lord of goddess of fortune also. So he has been conquered by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is the lord of goddess of fortune, uh, goddess of learning. And here then he accepts it, and he considers and he then becomes a pure Vaishnava in the Nimbaraka Sampradaya. And he writes, since he is a great Pandita also, he writes a commentary also in the Nimbaraka Sampradaya, which is known as Parijata Bhashya. So in one of the script scriptures called Bhakti Ratnakar. Here it is given the list of the disciplic succession of Nimbaraka, where does Keshav Kashmiri comes. So he comes in the 29th place. So since he had got the mercy of goddess Saraswati, but he was very proud of that. So just to make him humble and not like he has got such a great name, he does not want to just make him down, but he just want to remove his proudness, pride, and make him humble. So that is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu does, and then he becomes a great devotee. So he joins the Nimbaraka Sampradaya and he becomes one of the among the disciplic succession. So that is what is mentioned here. So tomorrow from 26 we are going to go ahead. So thank you very much. If anything,
Mataji, Nimbarka Sampradaya means it will come under that 4 Sampradayas, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji.